Hello friends, it's Fred Anderson here. I'm the coordinator of Awaken the Spirits Soup and Bannock for the Soul. In just a few short hours, I should say, in just a couple of days, we're going to be hosting the first of its kind ever brought out to our communities, I think in our history, because there is nothing else like it. And it's a 3-day event that uplifts the spirit, that uplifts your confidence, that enhances your confidence. And regardless of where you are in your life or what you've been through, this whole event is designed to make you laugh and designed to show you that regardless of what you've gone through, it's all a part of this thing that we call life. And either we can become better from it or bitter. We can become victorious or stay a victim. And I choose to live. And if you want to choose the good things in your life, that's the thing about progress. If you choose to progress in your life and you want to become better, it takes change. And we can't move forward unless there's some kind of change in our life. And that's what I wanted to share with our people out there, that there's something there that inspires you. And one of the things that I've shared with everybody that comes into our programs, and people are phoning me and emailing me about funding to get to this, if you don't ask and take a chance, the answer is always going to be no. So I encourage you, because encouragement is spiritual fuel, I encourage you to check out every avenue. Try and do what you can to get here. And if you belong to a band office, contact all the departments within the band office that has something to do with personal development and healing or addictions, because this falls right on Addictions Awareness Week. And we are going to promote Addictions Awareness Week because we've all come a long ways. If you're involved in recovery in the First Nations community, we promote sobriety. And what does SOBER stand for? Son of a bee, everything's real, right? So, and that's what it is. When we're in active addiction, nothing is real. And one of the things that I wanted to share with you, because I've had a lot of people that have contacted me that have gone through some really tough times, like I have. And one of the things that I've shared with everybody when it came to me losing an important member of my family, when my son passed, I mean, my whole world was turned upside down. But one thing I want to share with you is that whole day after I got the news from my son's uncle that he passed, alcohol and drugs didn't cross my mind not one time. Because I knew that I was strong enough, and it was because I dealt with what happened in here. One of the things I share with people, that if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do you no harm. So you got to deal with the enemy on the inside, and that's called your past. And your past is always going to be the way that it is. We've got to stop trying to change it, right? See, and that's what I wanted to share with people, is that you don't have to be great to get started, but you got to get started to be great. It starts with that first step, and if you don't take that first step, if you want to be happy, if you don't move, you're always going to stay the way that you are. Your days are going to be the same unless you take that first step and take a chance, because that's what it's all about, is about taking chances in your life. That's what I'm doing with this. This is an idea that's 25 years in the making. And I talked about this many years ago. I said we should have an event or a gathering with no issues, with no problems. And at the time, people looked at me like I was strange. But you know what? It's happening today. I think it's time for us to move on to that next stage in our life and start to empower instead of watching other people prosper in our own lands. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys, that if you're going through a tough time in your life, regardless of what you're going through, tough times don't last, but tough people do. Hang in there. And that's what it's all about. Everything that you go through, you can either use it to break you down or to build you up. And I choose to live today, and it makes me stronger as a human being, as a father, as a husband, as a caregiver. And my job as a caregiver, like it should be for any caregiver out there, is for you to work yourself out of a job so that we don't need you anymore, so that we can move forward and say we can do it on our own. So that's what I wanted to share. Tough times don't last, but tough people do. So adversity, everything that you go through, it introduces a man or a woman to themselves so that you're able to look into a spiritual mirror and say, what am I going to do about it? So I wanted to share that with you guys. I've been trying to upload these videos, but my videos they've gone from 5 minutes to 8 minutes to 10 minutes to 15 minutes because I feel I've got a lot to share. So I'm cutting this kind of short, and I really want you to know November 20th to the 22nd, Soup and Bannock for the Soul. Right here, Making My Life Count at the VIU campus. We're doing our opening up at the theater, and I've got all of the details on my Facebook page. Just look for Fred Anderson, Soup and Bannock for the Soul, and you'll get the building numbers along with a campus map, so you can find out where we're doing our opening, and our last 2 days are at the gathering place. So the first one is up at the theater, just up by the cafeteria at the main entrance at VIU. And then our next 2 days are going to be down at the gathering place at the First Nations Study Hall. So I wanted to share that with you today. Find a way to get here. Find a way to change the direction of your life forever, starting right now if you wanted to. If you're a caregiver, this is going to give you some new ideas that will help you with your job, that will help you bring back to your community that there's something new. It's time for a new direction in personal development and healing in the First Nations community. Definition of insanity: doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result or a different outcome, and it's time for us to take a different path. See, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. You see, so that's one of the things I wanted to share today, is that find a way to get here. Soup and Bannock for the Soul, making my life count. If you laugh, you last. And in closing, I want to share this short story. There's this mayor of this beautiful city on Vancouver Island in Victoria. He was in a big parade celebrating Victoria Day, and while they were going down Douglas Street, they were waving at the crowd of people, and the mayor looks over at his wife. He goes, "Hey, honey, isn't that your ex-boyfriend down there in the crowd?" And they're waving away, and yeah, that is him too. And he's one of the owners, one of the largest gas stations in town. And he looked at his wife and he chuckled and he said, "Could you imagine that, dear? If you would have married him, you would have been the wife of a gas attendant." And he laughed, and the wife kind of chuckled back, and she said, "You know, honey, if I would have married him, he would have been mayor." So remember that your partner and the people you surround yourself with, they can empower you, and sometimes it's because of other people. And I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my wife and my people around me that support me and love me. You've got people that support you too, and you can make it here if you really want to. Look forward to seeing you. Starts on Wednesday, November 20th to Friday the 22nd. Addictions Awareness Week falls right on that. If you're a caregiver, be a good place for you to go. Thank you for tuning in. See you this week.